you live from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and we are here today at the memorial for a pretty sad event that happened in our country and our state's history, the Oklahoma City bombing that happened back in 1995. I remember vividly when it happened, and we're here today, and hopefully we'll get some good shots. So let's take a look. Thank you guys for joining. All right, so here is the entrance to this right here where we're about to go is the where the federal building that was actually bombed. And I believe I would have to look back, but I think down on that street is where the truck parked, but I'm not sure. So let's take a look. Let's take a look around. Hi, babe. You're on. Thank you. I was trying to get you to join me, but my screen kept going blank, and I was having a technical issue. So anyway, you can join me this way. So here's the outside of. This is the actual building. This is the old federal building right here. So they still left up. There's still part of it remaining. Here's the memory fence. So the Oklahoma City Memorial. I don't know if this is a lady that may have passed away.
Seeing, like, I looked in every case with the picture. I looked down and see what was there.
Welcome. We have 4 people joining. We are coming to you live from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, from the memorial of the Oklahoma City bombing that happened in 1995. The biggest tragedy, terrorist attack on our country, right here in Oklahoma from an American. So I have visited before, but it's been years. So we thought we'd come back out today. We have 24 people joining right now. Thank you for joining. I'm Jeremy McCaslin. We are coming to you live from the Oklahoma City National Memorial. So a pretty dark time in our history where our country, our state was attacked by a terrorist. And what even made it worse is it was a local terrorist. It was a terrorist from the United States that attacked their own country. So very dark time, very sad time in our history. And we wanted to come out today. This is Memorial Day weekend. So we want to pay tribute to the folks that lost their lives here in Oklahoma City. And over here across the street, we'll take a look over there before we go inside. Over here across the street is a statue. It looks like a statue of Jesus. Let's take a look. Now, I know this church on the corner. I remember this church was affected by the bombing. I don't remember the details, but I remember seeing something about it. So let's take a look at this statue here. It looks like Jesus weeping, and exactly that. And Jesus wept, which is in the Bible. So I'm from Oklahoma, so this is pretty near and dear to my heart. The Oklahoma City bombing happened in 1995. I was 18 years old. I remember it very vividly. I was just starting Bible college, and I started Rhema Bible College that fall. So this happened, I believe it was in April of 1995. So a few months later, that September is when I started my first year of Bible college. So let's go take a look inside, and let's honor the folks that lost their lives, and the families that lost their lives in the Oklahoma City bombing. So you have this wall, which is part of the building, I believe, and it's kind of hard to see. It might be hard for you to see on the live, but it says, "We've come here to remember those who were killed, those who survived, and those who changed forever. May all who leave here know of the impact of violence. May this memorial offer comfort, strength, peace, hope, and serenity." So let's go take a look. We're here today coming to you live from the Oklahoma City Memorial, where the Oklahoma City bombing happened. Jump in the comments. Let me know you're watching, where you're watching from, and we appreciate you joining us. You know, although it's tragic, obviously, what happened, they really did a great job with the memorial here, I must say. It's very beautiful. You'll see it. They have chairs that represent the folks that lost their life. And let's take a look. Watching from Philippines, Ice Vanilla Latte. So thank you for watching, sweetheart. You have the, I forget what this is called, but this water right here. And it's a reflection pool, that's what it's called. And if you look off to that side, you have one of the walls, and you have the other wall here. And this reflection pool is where the federal building stood. This is where it stood. And if you can see, you might have trouble seeing, but at the wall across the way it says 9:01 a.m. Or it says 9:01, it doesn't say a.m. But over here it says 9:03. You might be able to see that. So 9:01, and this is 9:03. And the reason that's 9:01 and this one's 9:03 is because the bombing actually happened at 9:02 in the morning, 9 a.m., 9:02 in the morning. So people were just getting to work, and this was the federal building. There were lots of different offices here. I don't remember all of the agencies that were housed here. You can Google that and find out, but there were multiple agencies here. You know, and there was also the saddest part. I mean, any death is sad, obviously, but the saddest was there was a daycare. There was a daycare. So unfortunately, there were babies and children that lost their life because of this horrific act of violence. So these chairs right here, these chairs represent, I guess it's okay to walk on the grass. I see people out there doing it. I think it's been years since I've been here. I don't think you could before. But these chairs represent each person that lost their life. So beautiful. Oh, I didn't realize this. It has a name. So to give honor to those that lost their life, they have a name on each chair. This one is Stephen Douglas Curry. You might be able to see that. And of course you have the American flags up today because it is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is actually this Monday. Then off here in the distance, you see this building. It might be hard to see, but this is the actual museum, the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum. So you can go inside the museum and take a tour. I've done that before. We won't be doing that today because of time. There is a cost to that, but it's well worth it. But this out here is free. This is open to the public. So I am actually standing right now where the Oklahoma City federal building, this is it. This is where it was located. And I think where I'm standing, I could be wrong, but I've watched enough videos on it. I think this would be the front of the building where I'm standing, and there's a church off in the distance, and I know the church was affected, and there were other buildings around that were affected as well from the bombing and sustained damage. So you can watch videos on that. Here are some more chairs, and this makes it even more sad. So I'm assuming the smaller chairs are the children that lost their lives. You see there's some smaller chairs. So this one is Blake Ryan Kennedy. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Babe, let me know if you can see that, the names. Blake Ryan Kennedy. Yeah, I think when I was out here before, which has been years, I don't think you were allowed to walk on the grass. So it looks like they allow you to do that now. Maybe it's just for this weekend, for Memorial Weekend. I don't know, but we're right up close. So I have 3 people watching right now. Give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from. It's hard to see the writings. Okay, yeah, it's even hard for me to see. They're not. You kind of have to get close. But each chair has a name of one of the people that lost their lives in the Oklahoma City bombing. So very surreal, very sad, very unfortunate. There's not a lot of words that can describe, but it is really nice how Oklahoma City really stepped up and made this a beautiful place. There's a scripture that talks about how God turns ashes to beauty. And it makes me think of that scripture that this is ashes. And something tragic happened here, but it's now a beautiful place. So there's a little view, and again, if you're just joining, you have the water here. I think it's called a reflection pool. You can see the reflection in it. Across the way, you have the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum, and this is where the reflection pool is, where the building, where the federal building actually sit. You have this wall here, which was one side of the building, 9:01 a.m. If you can see that up there, it's a little hard to see. Then the other building is 9:03, and in between that represents before, this side represents before the bombing at 9:01. The bombing happened at 9:02 a.m. Then the other side is 9:03, that represents after. So very surreal to be here. Obviously, there's a lot of people out here today. I'm not sure if how busy they normally are. It is Memorial Weekend, so there's the wall for you. And this right here, you can see this is actually part of the building remaining. You still have part of the building remaining. So let's take a look at more of the wall. Babe, how's the video coming in? Let me know in the comments. And if you're wondering if I'm calling you babe, and you're like, who is this guy? I'm talking to my fiance who's watching live right now, Irene, which is iced vanilla latte. Great. She might be falling asleep because it is 2 in the afternoon, 2:07 in the afternoon in Oklahoma. That means it's 3 a.m. Philippines. So she's probably tired, falling asleep. So this is part of the building that's remaining from the bombing. It's amazing that this is still here. And I think, I could be wrong, you'll have to. Good morning, Philippines. So you still have part of the building remaining. So I guess it went all the way. It went all the way out here. I think there were some survivors. I believe so. I can't really Google that right now because I'm doing this live. Babe, can you Google that and see if there were any survivors at the Oklahoma City Memorial? Let us know in the comments and I'll talk about that. And how many people died too? I don't remember. I think there were a couple hundred. I'm just going by memory. Maybe you can Google that. How many deaths and how many survivors were there here in Oklahoma City? So, but it's really, it's really tragic, really sad, but also very beautiful. They've done a great job with the memorial, and it's great that they did this to really honor the memory of the people who lost their lives back in April, I believe, of 1995. Like I said, I remember the year very vividly. I remember when it happened. I am from Oklahoma, and I've lived here most of my life, but at that time I was actually living in Washington State. My stepdad is from Washington State, so I lived there a couple of years with the family. And this happened in April, I believe, and I was preparing to come back to Tulsa, where I live, to attend Rhema Bible College. My first year, I was 18 years old, right out of high school. So the outer wall, it looks like, part of the outer wall, this is original. I don't know if this part of the wall is original or not. And I know the church across the street. I remember that church, if you can see that beautiful church. I know it had, I'm pretty sure it sustained some damage. It looks like there's a police officer down here or a security guard. Maybe we can ask him some questions. So we have a couple people joining. We are coming to you live from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, where the memorial of the bombing happened back in April of 1995, 2095 to 2005 to 95, I guess 30 years ago. Wow, 30 years ago. That's unbelievable. Yep, April. Here we go. Okay, thanks, babe. 168 deaths and 600 survived. So, wow, a lot of survivors. I didn't know that. So most of the people survived, which is amazing because if you look at footage, it's amazing that anyone survived. So it says you're entering the area where the Alfred Murrah building once stood. The granite used on this pathway was salvaged from the Murrah building. So this granite right here that I'm walking on came from the actual building. Now these brooks did not. That was a joke. Anyway, the granite used on this pathway was salvaged from the Murrah building. The field of empty chairs, there's the empty chairs, is a tribute to the 168 Americans who were killed April 19th, 1995. The 9 rows represent 9 floors of each former Murrah building. Each person's chair is positioned in the row that corresponds to the floor on which they worked or were visiting. So this is very strategic. That's interesting. The 5 westernmost empty chairs honor those who were killed outside the Murrah building. One, two, three, four, five. So these chairs right here, these 5 chairs, there's one, two, three, four, five. These were folks that were outside of the building. They may have been law enforcement, fire people. They may have just been people in the neighborhood. But these 5 chairs represent people that were outside of the building. So there were 5 that were outside of the building that were killed. Here's the beautiful reflection pool. 30 years ago, I was 18 years old, so you can guess my age. I will be 48 on Memorial Day this Monday, May 26, 1977. That was on a Thursday, in case you're wondering. So 9:03 a.m. was 1 minute after the bombing. And if you can see that, it says 9:03. On the other side, it says 9:01. And the reflection pool is part of the building, 9:02 a.m. So we have 4 people joining right now on the live. Thank you for joining. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And babe, I don't know if you're just tired and that's why you're putting fish in the comment section. This is very serious. I don't know what fish has. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. But you're making me hungry for fish, for seafood. One final look, and again, this is the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum across the way. I highly recommend if you ever come visit. It's absolutely free to be here where I am and come see the chairs that represent the lives that were lost. But to go through the museum, there is a small charge. I don't remember how much. I Googled it today. I think it was like $18. So it's well worth it. It's well worth it, though. We just don't have time today. I was laughing on guessing your age. Oh, okay. Maybe we can interview somebody while we're here. Let's see. Let's see if this gentleman will.
Now, of course, with that said, that grassy knoll over there surrounding the survivor tree was all a parking lot at the time. So nothing was protecting that tree or that building from the back of that. And all the damages you see on the south face of the building are with
So what is the remains chipped away at that wall that's still standing there? What was that?
So that would have been the eastern face of the building,
Okay.
and a little tiny bit of the north face.
Okay.
So they completely
Yes.
raised the Murrow building.
Yes.
No longer stands no
And
longer.
the reason why, of course, that area survived the initial demolition was because that part of the building was partially underground originally. Yeah, because the street raised from that block to that block, roughly 13, 14 feet. Slow, gradual grade.
Okay. What was that?
Can you ask, were all the fatalities in the Murrow building or were
5 outside, represented by these 5 right behind.
Were they law enforcement, fire people, or people just not spectators, but just passerbyers, or
So
a mix?
only one person was a first responder,
Only one first responder
an
died.
off-duty nurse named Rebecca Anderson.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing. There was only one first responder that passed. I mean, that's great.
What's even more amazing is that only one person was killed out on the street in the middle of a downtown.
Wow, that is.
Yeah, and
the
then
rest of you in the buildings over
yes,
there?
2 in the Water Resource Board and 1 in the Athenian.
And what's
restaurant.
even more amazing, I read the sign. There were 600 survivors.
Yes.
Which is mind-boggling, because if you look at the videos or the pictures, it's amazing that anyone survived.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Was there anyone that was a survivor that sustained no injuries at all that was in the building? See, I stumped you there. I came up with a question.
Well, there was the credit union lady
Oh,
that
no,
was having
she-
the meeting, and all of her co-workers were
disappeared.
killed.
Yeah.
And they showed her dress was hanging in there, and it had hardly a scratch.
Yeah,
And-
she
and
still
then-
got a concussion. She got knocked
did
out.
she?
Yeah, so everybody being that close, basically everybody at least got some form
I
of
bet she
concussion.
was thankful she got. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take the concussion, right? So,
Well, probably their
so
traffic was
everyone
there.
sustained some injury.
Yes,
most likely.
I've given multiple tours to survivors. Most of them are in the surrounding buildings
Okay.
outside the Murrah building.
Okay.
And I met a lady who originally, her office was in one of the windows just behind the survivor tree
Okay.
in that building.
In this citizen building,
No, in the older building, the Journal Record building.
which is now the National Museum.
Yes.
Okay.
So her office, she was in there, and she wore contacts, of course, because it was 95. Contacts were thicker then and whatnot.
Okay.
And when that bomb went off, it caused a lot of the walls and ceilings to cave in that building.
Okay.
Now, and it knocked her over in her chair, but she was basically temporarily blinded. Her whole face was
That-
covered in dust,
Wow.
and like it just caked onto her onto her lenses, so she had to be let out by a coworker. I also met a lady who was a survivor in the Water Resource Board building just over there, and one of these individuals, he was actually chatting with her at her cubicle when that bomb went off.
Really?
They were discussing recipes.
And he lost his life and she didn't.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Class.
They were probably our distance away, if
Yep.
not
She was
closer.
seated, and he was basically like this, talking to her how to properly clean out chitlins and such like that. And,
Wow.
and the bomb went off, and
And it went off at 9:02, I'm guessing, because
Yes.
of the 901 and the reflection pull. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Are you from Oklahoma, Matt?
I'm from Ventura, California.
Okay,
originally. How
okay.
about yourself?
Born and raised Okie. Not here in the city. I'm from Tulsa.
Oh, nice.
So I've been up here before, but it's been lots of years, and I thought this weekend is an appropriate weekend
Oh yeah.
to come out. So appreciate you being here.
Oh yeah.
So
What is was the thought with all the chairs?
Empty
That they were
seat at the dinner table.
Oh, empty
So
seat.
that's the symbolism, and
Okay.
they're organized into 9 rows representing the 9 floors of the building. With the exception of these 5 right here, these 5 individuals were killed outside the Murrah building.
do you know this church over here? I remember seeing on a video somewhere. I remember that church. There was some damage or something significant about the
Yeah,
church.
so both that and the Methodist church basically had all their windows blown out and such.
Okay.
But yeah,
But
their
that was
rectory was at the corner where the Jesus Weed statue
what was
is.
the corner?
Their rectory, the Catholic Church's rectory.
Oh, is this a Catholic church?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was destroyed, and they replaced it with their own memorial. Yes.
Okay.
I was just going to ask what that memorial is.
Yes. So that's the Jesus Weed statue. It's their own memorial, the Catholic Church. And the divots behind Jesus have the same representation as the chairs. Each divot, like the chairs, represents a life lost.
Wow.
Yeah, of course.
Was the building that got destroyed in here?
Yes. Big, long, 9-story tall building on this grassy knoll. 5th Street used to be where the water is.
Oh.
And then on the flagstone, 4 trees down from us, is where he placed the truck bomb in a loading zone.
So this was the actual street, not the building. So this was okay, and that makes sense where the chairs are. Okay. Now, when I haven't been out here for years, and I don't want to take all the time, but I last time I was here, I don't think you were. Is it new that you're able to walk up here, or
Yes.
I
So
remember it
they
was.
replaced the old grass with zoysia grass.
Oh, okay.
So basically, we're walking on the stuff that you'd find on a golf course.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you for your time, Matt.
Yeah, of course.
So have a great weekend.
Yep, you too. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you.
You have a question, folks? First time.
So I was wrong, folks. The pool here, the reflection pool, was actually a street that went through. And you know what? I guess I wanted to ask him. I'm guessing this is where the truck, the truck was parked. Let me ask him that. And the building was here. But let's try to get some clarification on that.
etiquette. I'm like,
That's a long release.
oh yeah. Or
The arch down there, part of the memorial, or
are you talking about the same one as this? Yes, so these are the gates of time. They represent a minute before and a minute after the bombing. And of course, with that said, we're within these gates of time at 9:02 when the bomb went off, and we're here to reflect on the tragedy of that moment and the lives that were lost because of it.
Yeah.
A lot of thought put into this
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
It's very strategic. I had one other question for you. So this was Fifth Street.
Yes.
Was the truck parked here, or was it parked out there?
4 trees down from us on the flagstone is where the loading zone was up against the building.
4 trees down. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
So that's where the truck was parked.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
No.
they parked outside the building.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
a lot of people get what happened here, the bombing itself, confused with the Trade Center bombing in '93.
Which was in the garage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This and there's video of the truck.
So
There's
the 901 is the time of the blast.
902.
902.
Yes. So these are the gates of time. They represent a minute before and a minute after.
Oh,
Okay.
minute before.
But 40 minutes after.
Yeah.
Why Oklahoma City? Out of all the places he could have chose, why here?
When he was mad about White House.
When he was mad about Texas, he should have chose Texas, right?
The ATF.
He should have chose
office.
nothing, but
Well, he should have chose nothing, but you would think.
no,
he
I
would.
understand what you're saying.
So the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau, they were the ones who
Right.
watched the Waco siege.
Right.
And Ruby Ridge, of course. Those two things were really what set him off and what
Right.
he claims to be his
Right,
final
right.
straw.
It seemed like they would have done it around that area down.
Yeah, well, the reason why I chose this building is because the field office for the ATF in this building was the closest geographically to Waco. So the closest office to Waco for the ATF was
Yep.
here, and he bombed this building on the 2nd anniversary of the conclusion of the Waco
Right.
siege.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he thought the security might be more lax here
That had
than
to
like
do
in
with
New
that.
York City. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
But I guess
one
if this is the
consequence.
closest to Waco, then
One consequence as to what happened here, they no longer build federal buildings up on the street like they did here. Literally, this building had an overhang just above where the loading zone was, where he set the truck bomb at.
Oh. Okay, so he has roofs over the street. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
okay.
Where was the front of the building, and where was
Right at the grass line.
this? Was the front of it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Wow.
both the north and southern ends of the building were both fronts. You had entrances on this side on the first floor for Social Security, and then most of the government workers would come up over there on the south side where the flags and such are up on that quad up there.
but the truck was 4 trees down on the north, so
Yes.
it was right here on this walkway, just 4
Yes.
trees to your left.
Yes.
Okay.
And was that building connected to the? No. That was just. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a marker down there? Where,
There is not.
so just the 4th tree from you is
Yes.
where the truck was parked. Okay.
Yeah, the layout and design of the spot was more focused on the victims and the survivors.
Sure. No, that makes sense, and
Yeah.
that's the way it should be.
But
But
if I do get a question about where specifically was
Yeah.
X, Y, or Z located, or where did McVeigh run off to after he left the truck bomb here, I'll answer the question.
another interesting thing, if you guys are interested and you watch some of the videos, and maybe you can speak to this or not, is the way he was caught was kind of by I don't believe in just coincidence, but he was pulled over because of a license tag.
Yep, a fix-it ticket, which then turned into a felony because he illegally was carrying a pistol under his armpit.
Yeah.
Yep, illegal at the time in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and now it's not. But and he was, from what I saw and heard, he was very cooperative when he got pulled over,
And then he just basically sat there on his cot while everybody was speculating who the bomber was for 3 days.
there's some speculation, and it's just speculation, that he was, not that he wanted to get caught, but he wasn't trying too hard. I don't know if that's
So he said, he claims that, but it's just that.
speculation. Yeah.
There were sketches that were made of possible
John
people
Doe number 2.
Correct.
It just happened to be some guy who walked in at the same time as McVeigh.
Where's the building located exactly?
On
Right
this
where
grassy
you're
knoll.
standing.
Okay.
This is the front of it right here. And 4 trees down is where the truck was
Yeah,
parked.
so if you come off to the side up here,
Where all that grass is? How wide was it?
This is it right here. The reflection pool was a street that went through where the truck was parked. And 901 over here was 1 minute before the bombing. It happened at 902, and that's why this is marked 903. So the walls represent before and after.
Okay.
So, and this was the street where the truck was parked. And each one of these chairs are a missing person at the dinner table, and it represents one of the 168 people that lost their lives,
Including the kids.
including the kids. And I suspect he would know, and I don't want to give you wrong information. I suspect the smaller chairs represent the daycare, the kids. Yeah. Now, on a positive note, it's hard to find something positive, but there were actually 600 survivors. And it's amazing and hard to fathom that there were any survivors when you see the footage.
Right.
But there were way more survivors than there were that passed away. Not to take anything away from.
It's good to think that it's like 9/11. You should always look at the positives.
Yeah, but just to think there were any survivors. Then these 5 chairs right here on this western side represents folks that passed away that were outside of the building. So these people weren't inside. There was one, he explained there was one like a nurse, I believe, and the other 4, I don't know who they were, but they were outside of the building when it happened.
Okay.
But to think there were 600 inside the building that lived is pretty amazing.
Died compared to how many?
168 died and 600 lived.
Wow. That's
So,
amazing. That makes-
yeah, when you look at the footage, it's mind-boggling because.
What do they? How did they survive? What do they? I can't think of the word.
And my name is Jeremy, by the way.
Brian.
Nice to meet you. Are you folks from here?
He's kind of from this area.
Okay.
I was in
I'm visiting
Dallas
here visiting
at the
family.
time. Yeah, we're here visiting
Oh,
family.
Live in
nice.
the Dallas area
Well,
now.
welcome to Oklahoma. I'm from
I was-
Tulsa.
I was in Dallas at the time. I lived in North Dallas. My
Okay.
son was 9 days old.
Okay.
And I remember sometime around 9:05 hearing a loud
Isn't
bang.
it amazing? I don't remember what I had lunch yesterday, but I'm from Oklahoma, but I was living with my family in Washington State at the time. My stepdad is from there, and I was preparing to come back to Oklahoma to go to college. I was 18,
Yeah,
and you remember it vividly, so it's quite amazing.
yeah. For 2 weeks, that's about all that was on TV.
that was a newspaper.
It was, yeah, and
Originally, it
I
opened
guess
in Mesa.
from my understanding, this was the worst, and I guess worst meaning
At least the one.
by number of people that died. Because I guess that's somewhat subjective, but the
Yeah,
worst
there's
terrorist attack, domestic terrorist attack on soil right here in Oklahoma. So, well, you folks have a great weekend.
You
Thanks,
could really.
you as
And
well.
this gentleman, anything I told you, confirm what.
Yeah.
I was going by what he said. I don't, but yeah.
Appreciate your time.
You guys take care.
Have a safe trip back to
Okay.
Tulsa.
God bless you. Thanks.
God bless.
All right. Who is still joining me? I have one person. I hope it's my fiance. I've been live now for, it looks like 39 minutes. And we're going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. I'll give you guys one last view. We got some good education there. So let's see here. He was there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So right down here would be where the truck was parked. That, hi babe, you're still on. Thank you. I know it's late, or actually early. So this tree right in here is where the truck was parked, where the bombing took place. They don't really have it marked because, as he said, they don't want to really spotlight, the person that did it, but they want to put more of the emphasis on the people that lost their lives back here. But the truck was parked right here, right in this area. This was the actual street where the reflection pool is. So the truck was probably parked right about where I'm standing. Right in this area is where the truck, it was a Ryder truck, I think, or it was one of those storage trucks. He rented the truck from a place in Kansas and parked it right here. This was the street. This was the building. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Let's take one loop around, then we'll end it. Thank you guys for joining live on this Memorial Day weekend. Appreciate you watching my channel. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And also I have another channel called Iced Vanilla Latte Vlog, VLOG. And we do content, my fiance and I do content in the Philippines. So be sure to join us on that channel. So last view, this is part of the remaining wall. I think this is the northeast side of the building. Beautiful view right here. Excuse us. Here's where the street was. I think he said 5th Street. It's a beautiful reflection pool they built here. Very beautiful. I thought the building was sitting here. I was wrong. The building was sitting, and that makes sense, where the chairs are on the grass. That's where the federal building was setting. But this was the street where the truck was parked. It's a beautiful day out too. It's Saturday, Memorial weekend. Monday is Memorial Day. Monday is the 26th, so today's the 24th. I had to do some math in my mind. Anyway, today is May 24th, 2025. It is 2:30 in the afternoon, 2:34 in the afternoon, and we are here in Oklahoma City at the National Memorial where the Oklahoma City bombing took place, just paying tribute to the people that lost their lives, and not paying tribute to the thug that took their lives. There's a beautiful lawn back there. This building sustained damage. It wasn't part of the federal building, but it sustained damage from the bombing. And now it's the National Memorial Museum. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for paying tribute with us today. We appreciate you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know if there is something in Oklahoma. This channel, we focus on Oklahoma a lot because this is where I live. And other places in the United States, where my other channel is more specific to the Philippines. So if there's something in Oklahoma that you'd like us to explore, let us know, and we will do our best to get there. We'll do our best. So come out and visit the Oklahoma City National Memorial. I mean, this is a big deal in our nation's history, and I invite you to come out, bring your cameras, take pictures. Interesting, Irene says. Come out, bring your cameras, take pictures, take video. You do have a First Amendment right, freedom of the press. So let's cross the street. Let's see Jesus one more time before we go. So this is actually a Catholic church that sustained damage, and there's a Methodist church on the other side. I don't think anyone was killed here, I don't think. And this was part of the Catholic church right here. And they have Jesus. And the scripture, I think it's the shortest scripture in the Bible. I could be wrong. That's an actual scripture, and Jesus wept. This is a good place to end, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for joining. Until next time, have a great weekend.